Hey, what's up? B. Smith. I wanted to say this. I've always wanted to say this, like at the beginning, ever since I saw the obvious program that everybody on Netflix is watching during quarantine. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Is it too soon? Too soon for Joe Exotic? You'll get the reference. Go to Netflix, watch The Tiger King. It's insane. Anyway, here to bring you a Thursday night beer review. As always, trying to be consistent. And I'm going to make this quick because I understand everybody's on lockdown. They're bored. They're not trying to watch this unnecessary beer review, or are you? And even if you were like, hey man, I really want to try that beer, chances are you're either not gonna find it or you got to go out into Ronaville outside and go get it. So I'm gonna keep this quick. So the beer that I chose to do tonight was Modern Tart. It's a beer by Upland, and if you know anything about Upland, Upland does Teddy Bear Kisses, which hands down is in my top 5 stouts that I've ever had. It's an imperial stout. This one in particular, Upland is out of Bloomington, Indiana, is an apricot ale. They call it an ale, but I'm willing to bet it's probably a sour. I don't know that I've had it yet. I don't remember having it, and I feel like if I did have it, I would remember. But it's a 5.6%. I guess we'll call it a tart. But it says ale with apricot. So I was doing a little bit of research about this before I pour it, and the funny thing is that quite honestly, tart beers or sour beers make me want to vomit. I feel like they taste like vomit. They're not very good. I can count on one hand how many good ones that I've had. Uh, so I'm really interested to try this for that reason, and also because I just made an apricot cider uh, that yielded like 7 freaking gallons of cider. So I got cider. I've already passed a little bit out, and we'll be reviewing that next time. So I wanted to do this one to kind of compare what I know my cider tastes like to this modern tart apricot ale, as they say. So funny thing about this, obviously they used apricot in the flavoring. Doing a little bit of research, they also used lactose, very minimal amount of lactose to try to hold some flavor. And then they also use Citra and Mosaic hops in this, which, so like in my brewing experience, I realized that some hops don't really have taste, but I feel like of the two hops, the Citra and the Mosaic, those have a pretty distinct flavor. So quite honestly, truth be told, I don't know what I'm in for. So we'll go ahead and give it a pour. You can definitely see that the head on it is excellent. You can see that, I don't know if you can see that color. It's kind of cloudy. I feel like that represents the lactose that they use to kind of brew that. They use the lactose in their boiling method or their boiling step of the process. Uh, and they dry hop it, which makes me think that this is going to be slightly hoppy, but not hoppy enough to notice, but I might notice. So without further ado, let's go. Oh man, it smells pretty sour, if we're being honest. Stay safe. 6 feet. That's actually not bad. That's not bad. It is a little tart. I definitely get the hint, like the hint of lactose in the texture of the beer, but very minimal hops. And I see why they did it. They did it because the Citra is kind of like a citrus hop, the Mosaic as well. It's got like citrus and floral undertones, and then you take that and you mix that with an apricot flavoring or puree or whatever they use uh, to make a tart beer ale, and I definitely get that. I get the citra and the aftertaste. Man, this thing is carbonated pretty heavily. So, all in all, Upland, Bloomington, Indiana. You can go down. It's like a 3-hour trip from Fort Wayne, which is where we're at. And you can check this out. I don't know how often you can pick this up, but you might be able to pick this up at your local liquor store. If you like apricot, it's good. It's decent. I'll say that because the best beer that I've ever had is Samuel Smith's Apricot Ale. If we're talking about apricot flavored ales, the second best is the apricot cider that we're about to review the next time that we get together, and then probably this guy right here, apricot flavoring in any kind of beer, ale, cider, anything like that is kind of few and far between. So you really have to have like a taste for it. You have to enjoy the flavor of apricot if you're going to enjoy something like this. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give this a rating on a 0 to 5 scale. And I'm going to rate this like, I don't know, uh, I give it like a 3.75, like 3 3/4. Like, it's not good enough that I would buy a 6 pack of it and I would drink it like it's the best thing ever. But it's something nice. It's a break from the norm. It was a nice day outside. It was almost 60 degrees. You get one of these ice cold, and that might hold you over a little bit. The downside to that, and the reason I couldn't go 4 is because even though I can pick out the actual flavor and I can pick out the apricot, the lactose, the at least citra hop. I don't taste the mosaic hop, but maybe they kind of blend together and they did that for a reason. There's still a little bit of residual taste that let's say is less than pleasing. So, and that's just for me personally. You might love it if you love things that are sour. You'd 100% love this beer. I mean, Upland's a great brewery, and just about everything they make is delicious. So, uh, I'm gonna give it a 3.75, like 3 3/4 on a 5 scale. And in true Gladiator fashion, as we always do, every Thursday about this time, we're usually a little late. 3 2 1. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up, man. Uh, I'm hopeful, man. I'm optimistic, and I feel like under the right circumstances, this beer could be the beer for you. If it was, 70, 80 degrees outside, maybe you're out on the golf course, maybe you're out doing yard work, this might be the one that gets you. Uh, but for what it is right now, not necessarily the perfect setting for something like this, or maybe even yet the perfect time of year. I feel like you got to get into warmer weather to really enjoy something like this. Uh, so with that being said, of course, I'm B. Smith, and tune in next Thursday where we'll have either another beer review at least 6 feet apart because of social distancing, or I'll be bringing you just a sole beer review by itself, something real quick that you can sink your teeth into because your kids are getting on your nerves and you've played all your video games and you've probably drank all your alcohol and now you're wishing that you had this one. B. Smith, 3 Crafty Bastards, we out of here.